Hi, everybody. So my name is David Wachsman, and I'm the founder of Wachsman, which is a public relations agency here in New York and in Dublin. And we do that type of very focused marketing that you were kind of referring to. So I'll give you the quick story on kind of who I am and what our firm is, and then I'll get into some of the experiences we've had, and then have a few remarks. So about 5 years ago, I was just a PR guy in New York. I represented a billionaire real estate developer trying to go and get a loan to build a new skyscraper, or a manufacturer of LED lights, or a cosmetics company. And at a bar here in New York, I met the CEO of a Bitcoin exchange called CoinCenter. And they were doing some remarkable stuff, but it was an increasingly commoditized market, and it was very hard to stand out. What's the difference between one Bitcoin exchange, where you use dollars to buy Bitcoin, versus another? And there actually were some differences, but they were really, really nuanced. Like, one used what's called a fix API versus REST API. And these are really small things, but they matter to the right person. And so we worked very hard to make sure that those messages got out to those people. And in the process of working with a Bitcoin exchange, you had to learn about Bitcoin wallets and how Bitcoin works and what a consensus method was. And you had to learn about cryptography, and you had to learn about whale chats, where these traders were going on there and talking about how they trade, what they like. And as we saw that there was no institutional demand for Bitcoin at the time, we had to shift gears and say, well, we need retail traders. These are the people who trade FX currently. This is the market. And so we kind of shifted gears, and I had to learn about that too. The next year, in 2015, I started taking some additional Bitcoin companies on the side, a software company called Airbits out of San Diego, and a VC firm, and a company called Satoshi Labs, which is based out of the Czech Republic, and they were doing two very interesting things. They created what's called the first mining pool, which is a way that you can gather computers together to get some of the block reward when new Bitcoins are created. And they also created the first hardware wallet, which is a way to secure your Bitcoin. Really all it does is it signs transactions offline, which is a very interesting phenomenon. And that's both become very, very popular types of gadgets. But suddenly I had a bit of a menu, and I could go to reporters, and reporters didn't have to just, or they might even go to me maybe if they were looking to write a story about Bitcoin. And then in 2016, something happened. At this point, I had gone off on my own, and I was just one guy. In February, I finally hired somebody in 2016, and there was this thing called Ethereum, and it was taking off. Ethereum had a very, very different use case than Bitcoin. So I'm sure many of you here are to some extent familiar with the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. But more or less, Ethereum is a cryptocurrency that allows for what's called smart contracts to be executed, if then. And if you align multiple of those in a row, you basically have yourself a supercomputer on the internet that can perform things automatically and transfer value between multiple different actors in an effectively autonomous fashion. This is an unbelievable concept, and lots of different things to be built off of it. And the Ethereum price rose. And when venture capitalists stopped investing in Bitcoin companies in 2015, they didn't invest, for instance, in CoinCenter. What happened was there had to be a new way to finance these extraordinary potential innovations in cryptocurrency via Ethereum and a few other types of what are called protocols. And this was the rise of, well, what we have today. Why Bitcoin's worth so much, why Ethereum's worth so much, and why, as of today, we have a $430 billion industry. So when I started my agency, which was December 1, 2015, it was a $5.9 billion industry. I think this one also died. Yeah. And as of... Thank you. Yeah. And as of January 1 of 2016, it was still only 17.7 billion, which is extraordinary, right? 5.9 to 17.7. But again, since the beginning of this year, it's gone from 17.7 billion to some $430 billion. See, that's about 70x growth since the beginning of my agency. And my agency's only grown 33 times. So we're actually underneath the market growth. Yeah, we're trailing. Working on that, though. And we now have offices in New York and in Dublin. We currently represent about 60 projects in the space. Our combined market cap for our projects, which is a really bad proxy for how valuable they are, but this is an easy number, is about $10 billion or so. And of the top 200 or so coins, we either actively represent or recently represented about 20 to 25 of them. So we know the space very, very well, and we're very, very careful about the projects we pick. So we get between 5 and 30 new client inquiries every single day from every corner of the earth, from Singapore to Chile to Australia to Finland, and we turn down just about everything. And we do it, A, because of capacity, because, again, 33 times growth isn't sufficient, but it's mostly because we don't really believe in the projects, and we think there might be something better out there. Or we think that they might be doing something wrong. And there's so many ways to make a mistake. There are so many moving parts when it comes to cryptocurrency economies, when it comes to they didn't hire the right lawyers. That's actually one of the prime violations. If we see that, they're gone. Or maybe they just didn't understand crypto economics, because the truth is, you can be a bad coin even with a really good idea because you just didn't align the incentives properly.